This is my least favorite paddle I've ever played with.
Yeah, Mav, a cheeseburger, double, a 3x3.
Will you be eating this in the car?
No.
Here you go, Buzz. Would you like some ketchup?
No, thanks.
There you go.
Cool.
You have a great day.
Thank you very much.
You.
So you know how burgers come in different sizes? Paddles are a lot like burgers. You can order them the way that you want. There's different thicknesses, but with burgers, it's pretty straightforward what you'll get. With paddles, not so much, but I'm gonna help clear that up. That's a good burger. So this is a pickleball paddle, but then so is this. But if you look closely enough, they're not the same. And that difference, it could change the way you play. So the reason there are different paddle thicknesses is to achieve different effects or outcomes. However, it really isn't that obvious what those effects are. So we could look at a sport like ping pong, for example, who many say is pretty similar to pickleball. However, their paddles are definitely different. So they would say that the thinner the sponge, the more control you have, and the thicker the sponge, the more speed, power, and spin, and less control. And it's the opposite with pickleball. So the thinner the paddle, you get more power and pop, but less control. And this is good for aggressive players who like fast shots. And then the thicker paddle, you get more control and a softer feel, making it easier to play shots and absorb power. And if you're wondering where I even got some of these paddles from, they were sent to me from the sponsor of this video, Get211. Get211 is an online store with all the modern paddles, balls, shoes, and accessories. Not all sites carry the same products, so if you find something that you like and you want a discount, you can use code BP for 11% off. Okay, so now that you have some context, let's look at some examples. So most paddles range from 16 millimeters to 12 millimeters, and that might not seem like much, but in a game where fractions of a second matter, it's a pretty big deal. So the thicker paddles, anywhere from 20 to 16, is heavier in weight, has a bigger sweet spot, and usually emphasizes a fair bit of control. And then you have the thinner paddles, which could be anywhere from 14 to 10. And this is typically lighter in weight, has a faster paddle swing, and emphasizes power. So which thickness is for you? I think for the most part, a thinner paddle is good for someone who's an aggressive player who likes fast shots, and then a thicker paddle is for someone who prefers to be more control oriented and has kind of like that finesse based game. Keep in mind though that just because the paddle might be thinner, it might not always have the same attributes as its equals. There are 14 millimeter paddles now that feel very similar to a 16 millimeter. And it's a good thing. This is exciting. We just happen to be in the middle of an interesting time where paddle technology is developing and paddle brands are moving beyond the old ways or finding new or different ways to alter the effects and the outcomes. And the next few videos will be covering that. So stay tuned.